What is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, founder of appmasters.com, the place you go when you want action-packed content related to helping you grow your app downloads and, more importantly, those revenues. Welcome to our weekly Friday live streams. Let us know in the comments where you guys are coming in from or watching this. And then if you got any questions for our guests, make sure you leave them in the comments below, because unlike other shows, I try to interweave your questions along with the interview. Today, we got a phenomenal guest. He's an ex-Lyft designer. He built the #1 marketplace for bikes. Yeah, the ones you pedal with your feet, those type of bikes. And we're going to talk all about how he's used data to drive all his design decisions. So without further ado, let's bring in Seven. Seven, welcome to the show, my friend.
Glad to be here.
Super excited to do this with you. And I know you're a proud Ukrainian, so I wanted to point that out as well. And
Yep,
we are
thank you.
Ukraine over here too. So, all right, man, you put this amazing presentation together. So I will kind of just follow your lead on this, but here, I'll pull it up. Yeah, take us through the slides, Seven. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. I tried to make it as juicy as possible. So there's lots of stuff in here to take screenshots, to take notes. Maybe there's one thing you can take away that will definitely make my day. So let's get into it. Basically with ASO, that's something I'm very familiar with. The two main important things are, of course, your app icon and your screenshots. Out of your screenshots, your first 3 screenshots are the most important screenshots. So try to focus on those. And then with the app icon, that's actually seen everywhere. So figure that out first before moving on to your screenshots. And next. And as you can see here, I took a screenshot of the Play Store. This is an example of why the app icon is so important, because in some cases, you'll only see the app icon when you're making a decision to install the app and then making the decision to buy something in it. And with screenshots, you can see here that in many situations on both the Play Store and the Apple App Store, you'll only see the first 3 screenshots. So it's super important to get those right to sell yourself as quickly as possible to somebody. You'll also notice here, this is something we dealt with at Lyft, is we're all looking at a 3-inch screen at about arm's length. So your screenshots really got to sell it with bold fonts, easy, simple pictures. And a lot of people get tied up in this, design because they're in Figma, but it's got to be really clear. Next.
Yeah. I love how you said, look, great way to find your lead with your main benefit. I know it might be hard to read for those, but it does say great here. Let me do this. Great way to find your next bike too. So it's very clear. It's like a nice advertisement, like you would see in the New York Times or the Times Square building. All right. Seven.
Exactly. Yeah. I think you're the one who recommended I use a review from one of my customers.
Nice.
So the store listing experiments framework on Android, for example, lets you test in 3 different markets. So for me, it's important to test in India, in the United States, and there's a general kind of everywhere else market. So as much as possible, I'm always running 3 experiments. Yeah. As much as possible, I'm trying to prevent downtime. For my Android app, I started out at about 4% conversion, and I brought it up to about 30-40% conversion. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about, how to make such a huge leap. It's taken me years to get here, and it's a continuous experimentation cycle that I'm going to be talking about.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right.
Here's a really great example of why what I'm talking about is so important. So I've been running my app for 10 years now. And when I started out, I had this awesome cog idea, and I have this cog icon, and I have this 45 angle drop shadow from 2014. And I found that even just simple stuff like making it a lighter color and removing random shadows made people feel better about the app and increased installs. The next thing I did there is I made it even brighter and played with kind of gradients. and that increased installs. But really, what was the main breakthrough was one time I had some weed and I got over myself, and I thought, what if I put an actual bike on it instead of feeling like a genius and pushing like an Apple brand? And so I took an icon that I just had in the app and put it there instead, and I realized almost a 200% install increase and it makes sense. For the first time, people who found my app realized it was a bike app and not like a settings app, or they weren't sure what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And what's fascinating is I said, can I push this even further? And so I found another icon inside of my app that was just of a bike, and I tested that, and that led to an additional 100% install increase for a total of 300%. And the reason why I think this worked is because even the icon with the bike and the person riding on it was too complex for how quick people look at it, and the pattern recognition. They're trying to figure out, is that a person? Why are there two wheels? Like, what is this shape? But the next one, it's very clear it's a bicycle. That's why it worked.
Yeah, and I think these are the types of bicycles probably that is in your target market. This feels like a la-di-da type of Mode 7, and then this is a legit cyclist that's doing stuff here too.
Believe it or not, I actually had several different versions of bikes from this artist. I had like a fixed gear, like a casual road bicycle, a BMX bicycle, and I actually tested those against this, and the road bike performed the best.
Wow, that's crazy. Wait, I want to hold on a second. Did you say you were doing some fun stuff when you got inspired by this one? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, like a little
I love it.
Mary Jane.
Yes. Yes, sir.
It helps with breakthroughs.
Yes, I agree. I do the I'm a fan of that as well. All right.
Whatever it takes it to make it, man.
Love it.
Okay, so here you can see some screenshot design changes. And I think the important learning here is I went across, you can see again, I was really sticking to this green theme because I thought I was like the coolest dude. And it turned out actually having a white background with easier to read text, with bigger text, worked way better. And also with a device frame that was more realistic and less skeuomorphic. And I think the reason it works is because it makes it look like a more premium product and less like, amateurish. So that was kind of neat. Also, I don't want to be stuck in the situation where I'm upgrading these frames all the time, but I've tried several times now making it a non-frame like rectangle with rounded corners, and that just performs worse. So I don't know why, but I think
Wait,
for me,
things? That's right here? This little frame?
no,
Is that
no.
what you're
See
talking
the next screenshot over?
Oh, right here.
Yeah, it just has no device frame. It's more of like showing the software almost.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
doesn't work as well for some reason,
I like
at least
it.
in my experience.
What's this stat sick thingy up here?
Oh, right. So I thought you'd ask. We had this joke at Lyft that it's statistically significant A/B result, and so instead of sig, we would say sick on my team. Like stat sick.
Seven, I gotta ask. Now, Lyft is obviously known for that pink mustache thing, and that pink. Is that what you were inspired by when you were going all green too?
No, it was actually a really different approach. It was a environmentalist kind of initiative with this app, and so it's the green environmentalist movement, green bike lanes, green trees, green for recycling, because the app is a marketplace for reusing bikes. So it was really kind of to tie in the community aspect.
BN's here. Good to see you. I wanted to say hi to a few people. Nurex is here as well. Welcome to the community. Romaine's here as well. This is going to be another amazing video. Hi, Steve. Hi, Romaine. Steven is here as well. Adrian from our community. And then we've got a LinkedIn user. Don't know who the person is. And Luis, always good to see you. Week in and week out, Luis. All right. We've got this next one, the users.
All right. So when you're testing your screenshots and you're testing them in different markets, it's important to understand where your customer base is, because that determines how you weight your experiment results, right? So for me, on iOS, it's the US, and that's where I get most of my paid customers. And on Android, 85% is from India, and that's where I get most of my traffic. So I weigh those experiments before I weigh the global results. And on Android, I weigh the Indian experiment results over the US. And on iOS, I weigh the US results over the Indian results. So it's important to consider those things.
I love it, man.
Next. Okay, so you can see some cool hint I have here. You can actually use the screenshot experimentation framework for free to test things in your app. Because if there's things that you're considering that show up in your screenshots, and you can make a hypothesis that like, if this appears in my screenshots and people will install my app more, then potentially they'll enjoy using my app more as well. So I had this hypothesis that I had these tiny little icons and a lot of text. And I've seen a lot of my competitors use big thumbnails for the products being sold on their platform. So I just tested it before I built it. And I saw a significant stat-sick increase in my installs, which led me to believe that people would enjoy my app more if the interface was actually like this. And we've shipped it. So
That's amazing.
You can use this free little hack to test your own stuff without having to build in-app instrumentation and invest money in building changes in your app, when you can just find out through this framework if it works or not.
I love it. I love this idea. This is brilliant. I want to do this because I wanted to change the UI for our app too, 7, but I think this is a way better idea than just completely changing it. Love this. I hope everybody got it. You can use, just to summarize, 7 says, A/B test your screenshots with new UI. I guess what would you call it? UIX is what you said it. Test it.
In this
and then
case,
when
it's
that
UI.
wins, yeah, that's all the difference was, the difference in the UI. And then once he saw it won, like, okay, now go ahead and build it. Love that.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so for me, I don't have that much traffic. When I worked at Lyft and other companies like OneSignal, there were like millions of users. So when you A/B tested something, it was like several million versus several million, and you could easily get results within days, if not hours. Unfortunately, like Steve says, we kind of split into small businesses and VC-backed corporations. And with a small business, you don't have the traffic to get that data. So it's important to kind of set up your experiments like I was showing there, where you have the confidence level as low as possible, and you have it set to first-time installers, because I don't care about whether they're retained or not, because that's too much work. And setting the minimum detectable effect to 6, which is as low as possible, and it will give you an estimate there of like 8,000. So if I'm getting something like 6,000, 7,000 a month, then this will actually mean that I could finish this experiment within a month, right? If you set it to something higher, then it's going to be rolling on forever and ever. And you want to start and finish these experiments within 1 month, so that within a year you can run 12 instead of running one experiment over half a year. So that's an important little tidbit. And what it means is, just to be clear, it's going to be a lot less accurate of a result, but you can sort of kind of guesstimate whether it's pushing you in the right direction or not. And that's what I'm going to talk about next.
All right.
So you can start to see with some experiments, even with very little data, where they're possibly trending. And you can sort of make a gut call, or you can start making a mental assessment of why that is, which could lead to you closing the experiment as bad or good, like I was showing with app icons. So you can see the first one there, people care about the change, but in a bad way. And so you can see these lines start to delineate. And so you can make a judgment call on that sometimes. And then you can see in the other one, people really didn't care about the change I was making. And that's where the lines are basically like butting up against each other the whole way. Yeah. So those two are important to look for.
I want to take a moment, 7, and be like, 7 and I have known each other for a few months now, for quite a bit, and he's always testing stuff. Like he is legit testing everything. So, all right.
Maybe a little too much sometimes, but no such thing as too much testing, right? Now, in this one, you can see over the course of 1 week, experiment on the left that's showing a potentially positive result, and it's kind of more of a data collection there. And on the other side, you can see an experiment that I ran that was a multivariate experiment with 3 variants and a control. And I ran that for 3 months, and you can start to see the yellow or orange line over there peeking out. And so you can see that's a successful experiment. But with limited data, those take longer to run. That's why you see it taking so long. Yeah, next. Here you can see kind of how I decided on the icons, and this is called kind of triangulation by variance. So I have a control and I have some variance here, and the one that is doing really well is,
The city
you know, separating, yeah, from the other ones. And you can see that there's 3 that are doing poorly. And so if you see 3 that are doing very poorly and 1 doing very well, that can clue you into the fact that it's a legitimate difference, even though you haven't gotten the data, you know, that you would necessarily normally need to make that conclusion. And the next one is going to be an even cooler little hint. So here it's triangulation by 3 separate experiments. So you can have limited data, but if you have 3 experiments that are trending in the same direction, it's highly correlated that probably you did something right in 3 different markets, which is why that's happening, right? So you can see I'm testing the same thing in India, in a global market, and in Britain. And even though in Britain it's only a difference of like 6 installs, I can see across these 3 that they're all kind of trending a little up. And so that gives me more confidence that what I was seeing in the India experiment is probably legitimate, despite the fact that I haven't collected as much data to meet the threshold as I would at like Lyft.
Interesting. I really like this.
A lot of it is kind of guesswork. This is a screenshot to basically take away. There's some little hints in there. Have the maximum amount of experiments. We discussed that. Happier, brighter, lighter colors are good. Frames for your devices. Avoid the multivariate experiments if you have limited traffic, unless you know what you're doing, because if you do an A/B experiment, it will actually get you to the result quicker usually. There are exceptions, like we discussed. Do run regressive experiments. That means like taking things away from your screenshots or making things worse to confirm that that thing is worse in order to learn is sometimes a good strategy. Bigger, bolder fonts. Like we discussed, you know, people are looking at an arm's length. Sometimes the sun is shining on their phone. So the bigger you make the text, the easier it'll be to read, the more likely they are to install. Max out all your screenshot slots. So on Android, you have 8. On iOS, you have 10. Move the things that are the most important for converting your customers to the front of the line. So like we talked, the first 3 screenshots. And then this one, you know, every single company I've worked at makes this mistake. Only test one thing at a time. Because if you test 2 or more things and something worked or didn't work, then you don't know what worked or didn't work, and it's a waste of your time running the experiment. I actually tested this one on Android. Include the phablet and tablet screenshots because it will increase your installs. On iOS, I just have the 2 required phone sizes right now, and I think I've tested adding other phone sizes and didn't see an increase in installs. However, Steve pointed out people who have iPads tend to buy more stuff at a higher value. So when you have an iPad version of your app, do include the iPad screenshots there. Weight your experimental results based on the country where you're getting the most money or the country where you're getting the most traffic. Optimize your icon before you move on to your screenshots.
I like that.
You can test the order of your screenshots if you don't want to make changes or you don't want to hire a designer. Just take the screenshots you already have and just run an A/B experiment where you take one of them and move it somewhere else. See what that does. Or test an experiment where you just delete a screenshot. See if that actually increases or decreases your installs. Always be testing and improving your conversion rate. And then when you make the change, then decide to keep that. Don't randomly introduce changes because then you won't know, you know, the bottom line. Are you improving or making installs worse? In absence of other data, I feel at least comfortable if I see a result from Android that moved the needle, especially if it significantly moved the needle, like with some of the icon changes that we discussed, apply those to other platforms, right? iOS just started the experimentation framework, and it was actually broken for a long time until I told them to fix it. Like it was stopping your experiments after every time you updated the app.
Oh yeah.
And they're really new to it. So if I get a really stat sick result on Android, I'll just add that change into iOS.
Mm.
And lastly, do market research. So if you see other apps or competitors doing something cool, you can definitely run that as an experiment. But don't assume that what they did, that they tested and that it worked, because oftentimes they are also not testing stuff. So you can't ever assume that what they did was done because of a successful experiment. Right. This is what Steve's been talking about on this YouTube. This is how an app is broken down, at least how I think about it now. There's a marketing social section. There's the ASO, App Store, Play Store conversion section. Then there's the onboarding section, in which there's your paywall, which is probably the most important part of your app. And then there's the entire in-app experience. So when you work on an app, you have to kind of get these 4 sections aligned so you can catch as much global attention, get it converted on your App Store, Play Store into installs,
Yeah.
get those people into your onboarding and to your paywall, optimize your paywall, get as much money out of them on the paywall as you can. And then, if they get through the rest of onboarding and do something that's nice, if they get in the app and do something else that's nice, you gotta understand that there's a steep drop in how many customers you lose at every step of this funnel. So for social media, like if I'm gonna share later, reach of 3 million people, only a tiny fraction of those are gonna go to the App Store, Play Store and install something. There's gonna be a bunch of people that discover my app on the App Store, Play Store. Only a tiny fraction of them are gonna make the decision to install. When they install, 1/3 of them are never gonna even open your app, right? It's crazy. And then if they open your app, they're going to go to the first screen and they're never going to advance off that screen to the rest of your onboarding. And then when people make it to your paywall, you got to understand how many people will actually make the purchasing decision at that paywall. So at every step, you have huge drops of customers. And your job as a founder and a designer is to optimize each step of that funnel.
Yep. Love it, man. Thanks for the breakdown.
Right. So where you can get some of your data is app reviews, actually really underestimated by many people, but some of the best feedback you get in your app reviews. So definitely look at those, mine them for information. Also, if you have any one-on-ones with people, like you're at a party or you're on a bike ride, hey, I have this app. Have you heard of Sprocket? Can you sign up for it? Can I watch you sign up for it? Can I record you sign up for it? All of that is really good data, really juicy. The analytics suites that we have just from App Store, Play Store are great, as well as Firebase, Google Analytics, anything else you strap on there. I want to give you a really great hint, which is Microsoft Clarity, which I discovered. It's a free setup, kind of like Hotjar that does screen recordings. It's not allowed for iOS, but because I have parity between iOS and Android, by looking at what people are doing on Android and where they're screwing up, I can make fixes across my entire platform. And that's been invaluable, and it's completely free. And then, live customer testing.
Hey, Seven, I just wanted to make sure we're good on time. Look, Seven prepared a lot of slides. We have a total of 80 slides to get through. Do you want to move fast through some of these just to make sure we are good on time?
Yeah, we can do that. We can
Okay.
speed it up.
All right.
I tried to pack it in for all of you. So the basic way you experiment is you make a hypothesis and you make a change, then you get a result, and then you compare your result to the initial data and you try to make a conclusion. One example here is I had a button and people were sending me feedback like, hey, I want to buy this bike. And so I changed the button to red and said it's a report bike listing buttons, and then my emails went to 0, right? So my hypothesis plus my data panned out that like my emails stopped, so I solved the problem. Next. Here, like I looked at someone's feedback and they said, hey, I don't live in the US and I don't use the imperial system, so this app is useless. So I shipped the thing that basically switches the filter from miles to kilometers, depending on where you work, and then the complaint stopped. So that, solved that problem. Here, I was looking at what my pages are in Google Console that are the most popular, and it turned out my landing page is the most popular. Then I went into Microsoft Clarity and I looked at the heat map, and I saw that people scroll more if they start seeing after my upsell the actual listings I have on my page. And so on the next one, you can see I changed the design to actually be more collapsed, so people got to the scroll area faster, so they would make more use of the page. And like the results were inconclusive. You can kind of see where I'm taking data from multiple sources and applying it to the design decision making.
Amazing.
Here, again, like I needed to fix the way people contacted each other because I initially just shipped email and I wanted to add more methods. But as I added more methods to the app, I needed to add a separate space so that people could show all the ways they can be contacted. And then on the next slide, you'll see basically people got confused and couldn't find the buy button because it was such an unusual design. So I solved one problem, created another problem, saw the data from the first thing get solved, but saw data from another thing be created. And so on the next screen, you can see how I solved it is I basically took those buttons and moved them back to the original screen, and all the complaints stopped. So basically I solved that problem. All the bad reviews went away and all the negative emails went away as well.
That's amazing.
This is another great hint for you guys. So a lot of people don't do this. When you receive feedback about your app, you can go in something like Asana and actually track every item of feedback and a counter next to it, like how many times you receive this feedback. It gives you a really clear insight as far as who's asking you to fix what and how many times and how urgent the problem is. And then it lets you turn that into actionable data because you can prioritize against that. And in my workflow here, I also denote for each item where it came from and what exactly was said about it.
Love it. Wait, did you have to set this up yourself, Seven? All this like feedback makes search not dependent. Is that manual process or was it all automated?
For me, it's manual.
Okay, got it.
So talking about collaboration with Steve and App Masters. So you can test with Firebase, which is a free A/B testing framework. So I tested this CTA button change from unlock to continue, and I didn't see any changes. And then I talked to Steve, and I got recommendations from his insights from his experience with other A/B tests and what worked and what didn't. And once I implemented it, I saw my sales go up by 100%. So then I knew that that worked versus the previous experiment where it didn't work. So if you have reliable data sources like Steve, it's important to leverage them because you can kind of skip over some of the experimentation by leveraging other people's insights.
That's me, by the way. All right, I'll go back. I love this. So I want to break this down a little bit. We have seen that photos, on paywalls do convert better, not illustrations, photos, and then obviously leading with benefits in there as well. So those are the two I'll point out. All right.
Yeah, and again, with Firebase, you can just test different images, for example, in this case. But what I'm doing also is I used screenshot experiments previously to test the banner for Play Store, which is how I found that banner with the woman and the Golden Gate and the bicycle works better. But I didn't test it in the app. So I'm using a previous experiment's results to inform a more complicated in-app experiment that I'm now running.
Love that.
Since I said I'm a Lyft designer, I wanted to show you a Lyft one. Basically, Lyft sign up. I added the questions that say on every screen why we need this information from you, which statistically helped people enter the information, but they still have to manually do it. Once I added this automated system that basically one click put the information from your own phone into sign up, we saw a huge increase in installs and purchases because at the end of the day, it isn't about the interface. It's about providing a service, and people aren't there to use your app as much as they are to get something done. So just understanding, getting in people's heads and understanding what it is that they need really helps inform the kinds of experiments you should be running.
I like it.
Something Steve liked from one of our meetings that I wanted to point out here is when I collect my data, I actually co-locate it with my schematics. So when I have my onboarding schematic with my paywall and everything, I will put the data next to there so I see it in the context of what I'm working on and improving.
I love this. Yeah,
You can
this
use
is
that tip
amazing.
too.
Yeah.
You can put notes from your team members. You can put links in Figma that actually link up to Google Drive files.
If you're not a Figma expert like Seven, I'm more of a Canva. Canva has a whiteboard too that you can probably do the same thing on as well. But I love this.
I'm glad that we're going faster through this. Okay, so in terms of social media was the other thing I promised to talk about. Gary Vee gave some really great hints to me, said that social is the most undervalued arbitrage opportunity. So for those of us who don't have a lot of money, a budget to spend on huge advertising spend, use social media because apparently it's the most effective way for the least amount of time to get the most amount of exposure.
Great.
And even for large corporations, he wants them to use social more, which is an even more of a hint to me that as a small business, I should be figuring out how to leverage social to get traffic. And so what I've been doing, what's worked incredibly well, is a lot of the algorithms have changed to be 15-second videos. So you can make a 15-second video on Instagram, and there's now a download function. So you can download that video, and it will watermark it with your account watermark, and then just re-upload it to all the other systems that support 15-second videos. So for the time it takes you to make one 15-second video, it takes you way less to re-upload it to every other one and copy-paste the comments and everything. So works incredibly well. And where I am now with this is this discovery of using Instagram remixes. Remixes, you find someone's video where they allowed remixes and they already have millions of views. So you go into the settings for the video and you tap remix, and then you like add your own text or a sticker or something, and you can actually brush it off screen. And then you post it and it posts to your account, and you know that it's going to perform well. And then it gives credit to the original creator. So this has been a super powerful turbocharge to my Instagram account. And you can see here what I mean. Like I went to a reach of 3 million on Instagram and a reach of 3 million on Facebook. Some of my remix reels are getting like 8 million views with like 57,000 likes. Even some of the comments in there are getting thousands of likes. And yeah, same thing on Facebook. So this incredibly successful strategy. And then you can put your own reels in between those or your own posts.
Wow.
For Pinterest, there's actually a thing that connects Pinterest to Instagram. So once you claim your Instagram account on Pinterest, it will just auto repost all of your videos that you're already making onto Pinterest. So I got as far as like 70K monthly views for zero work. The only problem is it occasionally breaks. So I'm not sure exactly why that is. I've had to reconnect it twice now. And then on LinkedIn, I saw that if you have a company page, you can actually connect an RSS feed from another social account. Although right now it's broken for some reason. I complained and told them it was broken to fix it, and I don't know if they removed it or what, but
Okay.
I'm excited to see if that feature comes back. And look for ways to integrate your social so you don't have to do the work of reposting manually, basically.
Amazing, man.
Yeah, and this is the last hot tip is, as Steve mentioned, reviews are super important for your success, especially on the Apple App Store. It turns out it's completely legit to actually ask your social network on LinkedIn professionally and with courtesy to review your app and check it out. You're not asking them to review it fraudulently. You're legitimately saying like, hey, what's your name? Like, I've worked with you at such and such company. I'm trying to get my app to have more, views, and that's predicated on reviews. Would you please like go to this like Apple App Store link and review my app? And I've seen the conversion on this is about 10%. So for,
Not bad.
yeah, it's better than email actually.
Yeah.
And I've gotten my reviews up, and I've gotten my Android reviews up. And I think with Android, it's more of in a good place, but with Apple, like you need to get so many reviews before the algorithm starts driving traffic to your app, and
Right.
that traffic starts reviewing your app with the in-app review dialogues. So for some time, this is an incredibly important strategy up until you get to, I don't know what, like 500 or 1,000 Apple reviews. So take that and use it.
That's amazing. I love it, dude. And just to give you some data points, Seven said this is about 10%. Usually App Store download, if you ask for the review on the onboarding process, it's about a 1%. So that's 10 times better. Obviously, it's a little bit more work, but heck, you can do both.
Yeah, actually copy paste the message over and over and just change the person's name. And then I give them the Apple link. And then if they say like, oh, actually I have Android, then I send them the Android link.
Brilliant. You want me to go to the next slide? Because it has a lot of your information too, Seven.
I mean, if you want, yeah, but this was the end, the plan.
Okay,
Then.
perfect.
Yay.
Yay. Dude, that was a freaking amazing. Thank you so much for putting all that together. I was going to put an applause thing. Where is it? That was amazing. All right. Here, if you don't believe me, Bree says, wow, that's a lot of information. Thanks for putting in the effort and guiding us, Seven. Appreciate. And then Tawheed, now, Seven, it's up to you. Can you share the PDF, please? Up to you. So maybe we can put a link if you want. Otherwise, hey, hit rewind. I'm okay with that answer too, Seven.
Yeah, I can definitely share it. I can also write a Medium article. So we can make that happen, yeah.
Okay. And then once Seven sends me the link, I will post it into the YouTube video and then the podcast stuff as well. Awesome. All right. Any other questions? Put it in the below. Prenom says, how do you track the analytics? Are there any best practices for some docs, something like that? I'm struggling to implementing it.
I think right now there's kind of a fragmented landscape. So you just go into different consoles and look at the analytics and try and make sense of them. Like I mentioned, for my team, the source of truth is more Figma. So we do try to collocate the results where they're relevant with a blueprint. And what I mean by blueprint is I developed a different way of doing design at Lyft where we have Figma files for the experiments that show like where you're starting and what the changes are. But once we run an experiment or we make a change to the software, we merge those things back into a master blueprint kind of file that says what's currently running on production, what time it was changed, and any experiment data that's related to it. So in this way, you can kind of see all that stuff co-located in one place.
Yeah.
Fortunately, also, we're a very small team of 10 people. So a lot of time, only I need to look at the data and understand it. And so there's not a lot of cross-team communication that needs to happen.
Yeah, and you can use Firebase too. I'm glad you made a lot of things work with Firebase as well.
Yeah,
right.
they're all really great. Just look at all the consoles, in particular, the Play Store console has come a long way since I started with it in 2014. The Apple console, up until maybe the pandemic, was absolutely terrible dumpster fire. And now, actually, since I've been complaining for so many years, they've gotten to a point where you can understand the data and it's really well laid out. So those are my two main sources of information. Firebase and Google Analytics also have great stuff.
Hakeem says, when launching an app, should we have all of these tests in place already?
When you're launching an app, just have a best foot forward. You can't launch and start an experiment. You have to launch first.
Yeah.
So don't worry about experimentation. Just launch, and immediately as you start thinking about what you would test or getting feedback, then start to actuate on that and spinning up experiments.
And then he asks, what is the test I should start off with initially?
Based on everything I said, the highest visibility thing for ASO is your app icon. So think about the most impactful change you could try with your app icon, and I would test that. And then for in-app, I would make sure that you have a paywall, make sure that you have onboarding, make sure that your paywall is in your onboarding section of your app. It's practically a separate app. It's like two apps within an app. And then think of the most impactful change you could test in your paywall and start running an experiment with that.
All right. I know I didn't get to the dad jokes and the app audits last week, so I definitely want to make sure we get on that. But let's go one more question. Adrian says second on the PDF, so love that. And then BN says, are you monetizing off of in-app purchases, IAPs in India? And what percentage of your revenues come from India?
Yeah, so the app that I built is really weird because I'm going to strike a balance between decentralization, privacy, and convenience.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some new laws that passed for selling used stuff that you have to report to the IRS. But if you don't actually facilitate in-app transactions, then you're not a party to those agreements. So in order to not track that stuff, I'm more of like a Craigslist or Yellow Pages. So I take payment up front. So first listing is free, and then you pay me like $1 per bike or bike part listing, or you buy a subscription. And people buy the in-app purchases for the $1 a lot, or they buy the subscription a lot. The subscriptions predominantly in India because of, like I showed earlier, we have 85% of our traffic coming from India. And the monthly subscription is the most popular in India.
Yeah. And then M Hunter said, is this Ella? Ella says, in one of your paywall tests, you change the button from green to red. Is there broader evidence that works? Red equals danger in psychology. Confused. No, the paywalls has always been white buttons.
No, she's talking about the feedback button earlier.
Yeah, I know. But I wanted to make sure she knew that she was talking about the feedback button and not the paywall. The paywall has always looked like this.
Okay.
M Hunter, but she's probably talking about this one. Where is it? I went back.
You had it earlier.
Oh, I did? Shit.
Yeah.
This one. This is what she was saying.
Yeah. And the problem here was there was a make an offer button on top that was green and a bicycle feedback button that was gray. And my hypothesis was that bicycle feedback read to people, especially non-native English speakers in other countries like India, as a way to give feedback to the seller that they want to buy the item. And so by making it red and by changing the text, I successfully stopped people from using it, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted people to stop spamming my customer support with offers.
Yeah. And sometimes red does work better, Hunter. So just keep that in mind. Doesn't always mean, I know it means danger, but there's a reason why stop signs are red. It's just get your attention too. So, all right. So we did like a green versus red paywall, like button test color, because everybody thinks green is going to win because it means go, and it's red, that one, ours. So that could change a bit. All right, Nurex, we're going to give you what you want. Let's get into some dad jokes. All right, my friend, you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You go first. I got to find it. It's in my notes. Okay, give me 10 seconds.
Whoops, wrong. All right. I've got we're back, baby. We're back. All right, Seven. Why must you wear glasses when you're doing math? I see you got glasses on, but why do you have glasses when you're doing math?
Why?
Because it helps with division. There you go. All right. All right, Seven, what you got?
Same kind of thing. What's the difference between a well-dressed man on a bicycle and a poorly dressed man on a tricycle?
Okay, what?
A tire.
I like it. Oh, nice pun. All right, put the number 7 if you thought Seven's joke was better, and put the letter S if you thought my joke was better. And then I don't know what we're playing for, but we'll play for something. How about that, Seven? 7 used to be in the Bay Area and he's not anymore. So, but we will something as well. Cool. Let me pull up the app. So let me pull up the app audit. Now, if you want your app audited in a future live stream, all you got to do is go to appmasters.com/audit, appmasters.com/audit. We do have a long list, but we will get to it when we potentially can. All right. I want to thank my sponsor for this app audit round. It is Funnel Fox. All right. We got to lower the volume on that video, but welcome to the Funnel Fox arena. That's what I wanted to have some fun. And Yeah, if you're looking for Web 2 app campaigns, I do think that's the future. I want to focus a lot of our efforts and a lot of marketing on the Web 2 app stuff. And Funnelfox makes it easy for you to create the onboarding and the paywall and then tie in with Adapty, Revenue Cat, any of those tools to fully get people to buy on the web and then use the app, the premium section of the app for free. Or not free, but use it there. All right. Aravind, I didn't do a good enough job. I'm tired, guys. All right. Aravind says, what we need help on: App Store, ASO aspects, website landing page, and maybe Play Store if you got time. So we got a macro tracker calorie kit app from Arvidin. All right. You're the expert. What do you got? 7.
Oh, um, you know, I think one thing is I'm a second language speaker, so for me, like macro tracker, I didn't understand exactly what that was,
Mm-hmm.
and with the icon, I didn't immediately understand what that was either. Um, could try different icon, different text. Um, easily track precise calorie tracker. I guess it's for eating, and according to the woman on the third screenshot, getting thinner. But it's not immediately clear like what this app does. So I would work on that.
Well, I think you have macro tracker right here, and it is I don't know what it means, but I know it's in the nutrition space too, and it's really meant for like body. I think bodybuilders use it a lot. But anyways, you have macro tracker right here, Arvin did, but you have calorie tracker right here, and I don't feel like the colors go together. 7. I mean, you're more of an expert on this, but I'm like, it's this like cool carrot. I get it, but then you go to like bold, like green. Like I kind of like your white screenshots here
Mm.
too. You know what I mean? So I think they can do that. I really like the free barcode scanning. We have seen that the obviously using the word free works. So I really like that, having the free something free within the app to entice users to want to download it as well.
This might be also an opportunity to zoom in on the barcode interface, kind of like the first screenshot does, and really
Yeah.
highlight that you're scanning something, or in the background of the barcode, actually show the item that is being scanned. Like if it's a food item with a barcode, to make it
Mm-hmm.
doubly clear, like this is an app for scanning food barcodes.
Yeah, I like it. Like it. I think he has a traffic problem. He has 3 ratings. So, and
And use that
nothing.
LinkedIn hack.
Yeah, and he's got no monetization. So work on some monetization, will you? Here as well. Yeah. All right, Arvin did. So Samuel says, "Hey, macros, dummies. Macros track grams of proteins, fats, and carbs." There you go. All right. And then we got
I think it
Peace,
depends.
who
Oh,
says, "How long did
right.
it take for you to see an increase in downloads and conversion rates after all the tests?"
Oh, is that for me and my app?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, it depends on the test. Some test results are statistically significant, but like, 0.5% or 1% increase. So it might take several of those tests, especially because the variance, like I said, 30 to 40% conversion. So it goes down. Sometimes it swings with seasonality. Sometimes there's other things. Sometimes it's very immediate, like with the not screenshot, the icon experiment.
Mm.
Immediately, once I shipped it to 100%, I saw a boost. And I was like, why didn't I do this for you? So it really depends.
7. The Let's get into the dad jokes. Looks like Luis, thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. But everybody else is a traitor. Everybody voted for you, so you won that round. I lost that round. All right, let's get into the next app audit. 7. Do you want me to go first, or you want to go first this time?
I can go first this time.
All right.
What's the bike's favorite subject at school?
What?
What is a bike's favorite subject in
What?
school?
What is it?
Gearography.
Gearography. I love it. All right, I got one right here. I'll stick with the math theme. I think I've done this one, but oh well, I'll do it again. 7. I've got a mathematics joke, but I'm too squared to say it. All right.
Oh,
All right. We've got a great app right here. Put same thing. S for me, 7, the number 7 for 7. All right. Charades, heads up. Cosmi code. That's the name. That's what they put in. They want help on monetization, user experience. I do want to touch on this a little bit, Seven. I want to get your thoughts. I really love these screenshots. I love the fact that obviously heads up, like, that Ellen game, they made it popular. But I really like this, like correct pass. They're kind of showing off how to use the app in their screenshots. And I love the social proof here as well. But what do you think about the ASO and screenshots?
I think the app icon is pretty cool. The first screenshot definitely has some social proof, which is great. The colors are very kind of gamey and
Mhm.
nice. The fonts are big and easily readable. I think this is pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Number 93 in Word right now. So that's awesome. Let's get into, they got some weekly. Let's see. Let's see what their monetization looks like. Yeah. Let me take a peek. Fix up this screen and then bring up the app. Oh, I miss doing this. All right, here we go. We got Guess Up. Our first time using this app. I like this. I'm gonna take a screenshot. You got any feedback for this? This is the first screen that I see. I see play. For those who are just listening, I like this first screen. It says play, but it also has continue with Apple, Facebook, and Google as well. Anything you want to change here, Seven, or should I move on?
I'd maybe integrate the buttons in the screen instead of having a bottom sheet, just so there's less elements on screen. Because the less the cognitive load is, the easier it is for people to get through a screen. And like I was showing with Lyft, the more screens they are, the more cognitive fatigue you build up over each screen. So the less complexity there is in each screen in onboarding, and the less they have to think in each screen, the faster they can just get
So
to
you're
the end.
almost saying like separate play and continue with and try to keep it all as one screen, because right now it looks like it's separate things and a lot of actions to go through.
Yeah, I might also try to make the buttons all the same size, or at least the same width, so it's like a trial, right, and then 3 sign-in buttons.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. And then Hakeem says, I agree. Too much going on. All right. Take that. English. Let's go. Loading on the fun.
The language should automatically be set. Like, I don't know why you're letting them choose it here.
Yeah. I like that there's no trial. So they might want to try continue or start. That might, whatever, might be interesting. I'll shut up here, Seven. What do you think about this paywall?
It's nice. Based on your feedback, I would try an animation somewhere, and the obvious places, the stars and the diamond up top, is like
Yeah.
maybe spin it, maybe add some sparkles or something like that.
Well, I mean, I don't put too much animation. Like I want the animation on the button there too. So, and I also might want to, there's a lot of things I would do this paywall. I think what I've shared publicly now is show the prices in terms of whatever you want people to buy. So if you want people to buy the year, I would either make it in the middle of this column or do rows. And I know rows make it even longer, but we have seen that rows work pretty well. But I would probably just put it in the middle. It feels off balance. There's a card trick. If most people pick the middle number, put the main thing that you want people to buy on the middle. And then you can also do the math for people. And that's what we've seen work really well too. So this technically is what 8 times 12 is, help me. Let me do 8 times 12. That's technically $96 a year. And this is a lot. I'm not even do the math on the week, but that's a lot of money per year too. It makes your yearly so much cheaper. So I would try to just do the math so that people understand, hey, you do get a lot. And I would move this into the middle. That's the first thing I would test just to see if it would convert better. And then change the start. Remember what Seven said. I agree with. Obviously, I've been saying it for two, but test one thing at a time. So either change the start to continue and then move the yearly to the middle and see what it does first before you start changing everything. I like to take little steps and then, like you did, Seven, right, with all your icon changes. I know looking back on it, it's a lot easier to look back on it and where you started. But yeah, I think I would do that first.
Yeah, the most important things on the paywall generally to me seem like the payment selector with the
Mhm.
prices and the CTA button. And I had the exact same problem where I was showing the previous screenshot that had like a swipe toggle. and was ineffective at helping people decide or understand what it did. So when I switched it to like 4 rows or boxes, kind of like you have it here, that
Yeah.
like super helped people understand what they are and how to select them.
Yeah.
So yeah, look for the highest impact change first.
And I think you can probably like put a little bit less padding here, like move things up. I want this enjoyed by millions. I want this somewhere up above the fold. It just says above enjoy the millions. Like you know, like it's almost, and this is an iPhone 11, my old iPhone 11. So I want this above the fold if I can. Like I might just do it like this. Something like this. Like this.
Mm.
Like there you go. There. That looks good. That's what I want above the fold without scrolling. Because most people don't scroll. We had a lifetime offer we made free on App Advice, and you had to scroll to get it. Boy, did I get some 1-star reviews. It wasn't a lot, but I did get some 1-star reviews. People saying, I can't find it. They pulled it. And I'm like, dude, just scroll. Just scroll down. And so that's the tip. I do believe that long paywalls do perform better, but if you're going to go long, make sure you have everything important above the fold. All right.
Yeah, and this is an app that can benefit from a trial, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would just keep it no trial for now and see what happens, but maybe.
Oh, did you tell them about the making it hard to skip with like hiding the X on a timer?
Yeah, you can do that too.
I don't know if I saw that initially. I wasn't paying attention.
No, it came up pretty quickly. So it looks like they do have a trial right here. So their bonus offer is you get a 3-day trial and then you get $20 a year. So start free trial. I do like that. That's pretty interesting. So you do no trial and then you do trial. And then I love these mega boxes. I think with these mega boxes, I would try to start with something lower first, right? And then get them to upgrade. So I might try with like something that is a little bit like 199, and then during when I hit start or unlock, and then maybe hit them with, hey, you want a little bit more for just this much, right? It's a lot easier to get, like the people say, the whole marketing stuff is it's easier to sell more to an existing buyer than to look for a whole new buyer, right? So find a price point that most people are willing to buy first and foremost. Like maybe it's just 5 decks, and then you like, hey, you want 10 times more for like only 25 less, right? And then you try to upsell them. And I've been thinking about upsells in the app space, Seven. I don't know exactly how to do it, but I've been thinking about that a lot and how to perform it. But I think this would be the first bet. It was like try something 199, 499 first before somebody tries to commit with 20. Because what's the difference between 20 here and 20 there? Like maybe that's another way, right? Rather than so, anyways,
Yep.
I would try to get people to buy at least 1 or 2 things first and then get them to upsell. Otherwise, it looks really good. Let's see what their second open looks like. Oh, same. Okay. Still want me to sign up. Okay. Same stuff. Just like the first. Yeah, they didn't do any of that tricky stuff. Remove ads. Cool. All right. Well, Cosmo Code, if you do any of this stuff, please reach out to me and let me know what happens with some of the suggestions we talked about. All right. Let's see. I only have 1 vote. Oh, I got a few more. All right, Seven. We got to go to the final round, my friend.
All right.
This is for all the marbles of the most important thing of this live stream, dad jokes. All right, Seven. I'll go first. I think maybe there's a
Okay.
inherent disadvantage to going first. All right, here we go. Seven, what do you call a group of no cows? No cows. What do you call a group of no cows?
I don't know what.
Unheard of. There you go. Unheard of. All right. What you got?
Okay. Why do bikes keep going?
Why?
They have a long life cycle.
Love it. All right. Same theory. Put S if you thought my joke was better. Put 7. It is very important that you guys vote. All right. If you want that PDF, we better see some votes because we're not doing the PDF if you're not doing that. All right. Nurex says, what do you think about deep links on ASA? You can't do deep links, Nurex, on ASA. You can only do custom product pages. We use custom product pages in ASA if you want an attribution, like if you don't have an MMP and you want to attribute your sales from ASA, use a custom product page. That's what's going to work too. And we don't do ties. You have to pick one. All right, Nurex. So do that. Let me see if there's any questions that I might have missed. Cool. If you got any last questions, put them into the comments and then we'll say goodbye. All right. 7. We got some votes coming in. 7. S. I'll give you the win, my friend. You get the win. Congratulations. Where is my where's my good job? Good job, my friend. I should just do this. That's what I should say as well. All right, Benoit, how dare you, my friend? I'm not replying to your WhatsApp messages. Thanks, guys. Helpful stream. All right, 7. If the audience wants to connect with you, what I would say is go to sprocket.bike, and you can do /app if you want to learn more about the app. Beautiful landing page right here, but sprocket.bike is the website as well. 7, if the audience wants to connect with you in any other way, do you want to send them anywhere else?
They can find me on Instagram at Sprocket Blog, on Threads at Sprocket Blog. If you want to connect with me professionally, find me on LinkedIn. Should be 7 Schrodigan.
Yep.
So LinkedIn /7 Schrodigan. I have a whole bunch of other social media, but it's all linked should be in my LinkedIn. Yeah. Okay. Check out the app. If you like it, please leave me a review. That'd be super helpful. That's like the most important thing driving installs.
That's awesome. Congrats, bro. Congratulations on doing this for so long as well. Really appreciate you being in the community and sharing all your insights with the community as well. All right. A lot of people got a lot of great stuff out of it. Thank you, Luis. Appreciate you, bro. And then Adrian as well. All right, guys. Next week, we got Allison, somebody that we're working with as well. She's an influencer, hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. She talks about outfit makers, and she's going to talk about how she went from influencers to building a membership website to then ultimately building an app. And she's been over $1 million in sales already. And we're going to talk about that journey because she validated a lot of stuff doing the membership website, which is a lot easier than building an app. And then now her app is really, really taking off. So you're going to learn all about that every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific here on the App Masters YouTube channel. And if you can't listen or watch, if you can't watch the podcast, my team, thank you guys so much. The audio version goes out on Saturday now, if you guys haven't noticed, to join us on your Saturday morning stroll. 7, thank you so much for coming on and doing this, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Ben says, hey, first live stream I joined, Steve. Thank you both. Ben, welcome, my friend. Glad you got to see us live. All right, guys, every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific.